Okay guys, here's part 4 of the wiring on the 65 Mustang. So you guys have seen all this, but now we've got all the wires plugged into the Dakota, got all the wires plugged into the classic AutoWare Mastermind. I got a few straggler wires. This will be for the glove box light, and then this is for like a courtesy light, which I haven't hooked up yet. Down here I got some ground wires. This is coming off the American wire harness. I'm going to use this for the light over here on my gear shifter. So I got wires there. I'll eventually plug into there. Here's my engine check light, which the Ron Francis wiring harness, you actually had to have a light. So what I did is I basically just put a couple connectors on it, and then I ran a separate wire over to the Dakota Digital, so I'll actually have one on my gauge over here, and then this one here I'll just mount back over here, if I can get it back over here in the glove box once I get that installed. So just got some miscellaneous wires. This one is for the classic AutoWare. There's a wire that comes from the compressor, runs up to here, and then runs up into this box here. So I'll be able to get that put in pretty easily. There's back in there, you can see got all those zip tied, all nice and tucked in there. I made a lot of these wires a little bit longer than what I needed, so if I need to go in here and adjust it, then I can do that. This basically here I'm going to mount back up over here, and this is how you set and reset the Dakota Digitals. There's a 1 and a 2, so I'll eventually get that mounted. But wiring's there, as you can see underneath here, really cleaned up nicely. This is so I can plug in a code finder right here. They're about, I don't know, 20 to 50 bucks. So I'll be able to tuck that up underneath the kick panel here on the passenger side, and anytime I need it, I can pull it out and just kind of take a look at what codes I have. And we'll go over here to the driver's side, and I'll kind of show you a little bit that what's going on over here. Let me get my light out of the way. There we go. So over here, we got kind of the same thing going on as far as that's just for a courtesy light. This is a wiper feed. I got to do some, I don't know, funky ass wiring on it. What I'll basically do is I got to get a new wiper harness that goes right here, plugs into the back, but at least I got the switch in. I might put a 2-speed switch in it. This is a 1-speed, but like I said, this car's never going to see rain, so I'm really not worried about it. Here's my light switch, which I got that all in, so you can see that's in. I got a cigarette lighter right here, old school, and then I got my ignition in. That's accessory, and then that's on, and that's started. So I've already got cigarette lighter plugged in here. A couple things I had to do. This wire right here that my finger's on, I had to run from the back of the fuel tank sender unit for the float level for the Dakota Digital. It basically wanted its own separate ground that plugs into that box over there. So I just ran one from the back, black wire, and then I had a bunch of scrap wire. So I just tapped in right there with one of my solder heat shrink clips, whatever you want to call it. Put that together, ran it over there, and plugged it into the box. This orange wire here is for the Ron Francis. It needs constant power. So what I did is I ran it over, and the American wire harness had a accessory wire harness, which is for like fuel pump, power window, stuff like that. Well, I'm using the fuel pump off the Ron Francis because it's already got relays in it, so I was able to just take that and tap that into it. There's also a purple wire that I tapped into the starter solenoid wire, which is basically down in here, which is this wire right here. Yeah, that one. I just tapped into the purple right here, soldered it up real good, taped it up, so now that's all good to go. So that should work really good. And then as far as the getting the power for the Dakota Digital, what I did here is there's a tan wire and a yellow wire back in here for the radio. One's hot all the time, for like the the clock and stuff like that, and then the other ones, you know, for when you turn the key on. So I basically just tapped into them right there with my solder heat shrink wrap stuff, and spliced over, ran it over there, and basically hooked it up to the Dakota Digital brain, which is right over there. And the direction said it was fine because that box only takes about 1 amp, so, and there's not going to be any interference or anything like that. So, you know, once again, if you look back in there, you can kind of see some of those classic auto colored auto wires back in there that are tucked up. So I got to tuck some things up. This here is for the power for the AC. This brown wire here was off the American Wire harness. This red wire is from the Classic AutoWare. So there's a connector I'll put on there, boop, hook it together, and I've got the power for my Classic AutoWare. So, but as you can see from where I was, you know, a lot of these wires by this weekend are going to be tucked up, be put away, and you're not even going to see them. Down here I got my dimmer switch right here, which I'll just mount somewhere right here where I feel comfortable, and that's how you go from bright to low beam. So I'll get that mounted as well. This right here is basically, I had to convert over so my turn signals right here would work, and lights and stuff like that. So that just plugs in. I've already done that conversion. It's pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll plug that in, pull that up, tuck it up. Some of these wires back in here, I'll just basically get some zip ties and tie these wires down, because I don't know if you can see it there, but there's the wiper blade motor. So I'll just tie these down so when that's moving, it's not getting hit or anything like that. So but anyways, this is part 4. It's coming along, and you know, hope you're enjoying it. Bye.